it's ynathemoodreader, and today we're going to talk about 10 thriller audiobooks that you should listen to on Scribd. Before we go ahead with this video, I would just like to remind everyone that you can still donate for Typhoon Ulysses victims, and I'll put some important links down below in the description box. If you want to get educated about what's happening, if you want to learn which legitimate organizations you should donate to, I'll be putting the links down. And also, you know how much I've been loving Scribd. I've been subscribed in the platform for about a year now, and I'm very passionate about how helpful and how worth Scribd is for the subscription price. So if you're interested to try it out, I'll put my affiliate link down below, and you can get 2 months worth of Scribd subscription for free, and I'll get 1 month in return. Just a full disclosure there, but it would be at no additional cost to you. Now let's proceed to the books. So the first book I have read through Scribd is Need by Joel Charbonneau, and this book tells the story of teenagers in this town called Nottawa, and for some reason, some students get this invite to a website called Need, wherein the website would fulfill your need. Depending on whatever you ask from the site, you will be asked to send out the link to more of your friends, and then they will give you the reward. And our lead character here is Kaylee. She needs a kidney for her brother, and she has been doing this kidney campaigns all throughout their town. Nobody's trying to help them. Nobody's interested in helping them. So she tried out Need. And unfortunately, as Kaylee observes all the other students around her in their school, once the site gets full, like of students, it seems that they were the only target for this site. The site was asking for more, and that's when the chaos ensues. You know, when the stakes were harder and Need is asking for like dangerous stuff from the teens, that's when like bad things happen to the town. And my thoughts about this book, I gave this 4 stars. If you're a fan of books with multiple narrators, you'll enjoy this one. As an audiobook, you really won't get confused because of the full cast narration. It's very fast-paced. You'll enjoy trying to guess who is behind Need and why is this happening, and everything will be explained at the end. It's very surprising. I wasn't like aware that this book would go at that route, and overall I enjoyed the journey. Now the second book I have read is a recent release, and it's One by One by Ruth Ware, and I have been loving Ruth Ware titles, so I was very happy to get the chance to listen to this one. It's a fairly new release, and it's using the classic thriller trope wherein a group of people get stuck in the same place and murder happens. So basically, we have this app called Snoop, wherein you can snoop in and listen to what your favorite celebrities or influencers are listening to on like streaming sites, so you can follow what they are listening to real time. And so it's full of music recommendations, and then these people behind this startup are going to this company retreat on like a ski resort, a luxury ski resort, and then everything goes crazy when they are killed off one by one, thus the title. So we know that this type of trope is already like a cliche in mystery and thrillers, but they really work. It's like a very good whodunit story, and the thing with this one is you are limited to 2 narrators. So we have the very quiet one in the group who like really hates that she has to be there, and then one of the caretakers of the ski resort. So again, I wasn't expecting where the story would go, because the mastermind of these crimes was like revealed early on, and there's still a few hours left in the audiobook, so I wasn't sure where it would go. And it was a fun adventure. It was very action-packed and I enjoyed it. I also gave it 4 stars. Now for the third audiobook, I again listened to a Ruth Ware title, and this one is The Lying Game. Now the story revolves around 4 girls, 4 women at the setting of the story. They were classmates when they were younger in boarding school, and they had this like very tight-knit relationship. They love playing the lying game, wherein the person who has like the craziest lie that they can make people believe wins. And then a bad thing happened when they were in boarding school, which led for these people to be expelled from the school. And years after, like decades after, they have to meet again as the secret that they kept was like unraveled and they can get caught. So basically this book is very slow burn. It's really like driven by the relationship of each girl towards each other and the life that they had back then when they were in school. So it's a really engaging story for me. Again, I don't know who narrates Ruth Ware books, but they really have this great storytelling skills that will keep you engaged all throughout. The vibe is like very eerie and gothic. I loved it. So I also rated it 4 stars. Now the next one is, I'm really not sure if I should classify this as a thriller, but it is a recent Mindy McGinnis release and I love her work. So I grabbed the chance to read Be Not Far From Me by Mindy McGinnis. It's a survival story. So basically, there's this group of teens that went hiking on the woods. Something happened with our lead and her boyfriend, which caused her to like walk away from the group, and then she got lost in the woods. She got injured, and the story revolved around her trying to find her way back to civilization. And our lead is trained well in terms of surviving in the woods. So she has this certain advantage, but again, her instincts versus her injury would be like the defining point of the story. And one thing that makes this book quite harder to read is all the gore, all the graphic descriptions of icky things. So if you're quite sensitive about that, this book might not be for you, but for me, it gave me an even better experience. So I rated it 5 stars, like all the other Mindy McGinnis books I have read before. Now next we have The Suicide House by Charlie Donlea, and this book was just a random pick. I was just looking for thrillers as that was my mood all throughout October. And this one is a story about an elite prep school where an incident happened. And it caused, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 2 deaths at that time. And the suspect is now behind bars. I think he is in a mental institution at that time. But the weird thing about it is the other students that were involved in that situation keeps coming back to that place to commit suicide, thus the suicide house. And this like crime is catched on in the internet. So there's this journalist with a blog and a YouTube channel wherein she talks about and investigates this case. There's also a criminal profiler and his partner, a forensic reconstructionist, that were also involved in the case. And the leads of this book is actually the profiler and the reconstructionist. And this is the second book of their series. I haven't read the first one yet, but Because I love this book so much, I am planning to listen to the audiobook of the first book of the series. This book is told in like multiple timelines, and it can get confusing if you're not used to murder mystery thriller books like this one. I was actually not expecting that I would adore this so much, but the beautiful narration and the way the story flowed made me like cancel all other things I was supposed to do at that time just so I could listen to where the story would go. It's amazing. There was like also diary entries of the killer, which is a very strange and scary to be like in the mind of the killer. I was feeling really creeped out because you know, as in audiobooks, it's like the killer is whispering in your ear if you're wearing earphones. It's really weird, and I loved the way Rory and Lane's story, like their romance became like a significant part of the book. So yeah, and also one of our leads is in the autism spectrum, and she also has OCD, and her skills from the from being autistic, like the way her mind works, gives her the advantage to solve cases. So yeah, I also rated this book 5 stars, and I hope that they continue on with the series because the dynamic between Rory and Lane is amazing. Now, the next book in my audiobook journey is another Joel Charbonneau book. This time it's Time Bomb. What happened in this book is that it's a few weeks before school starts. There's a few students in school with different purposes when a bomb erupts. Basically, there was a bombing in the school, and the bad thing about it is that there are a series of bombs still left, and every few hours a bomb explodes. Basically, what the book is about is trying to find who is the person behind the bombs. Is it a terrorist attack? Is it targeted to one of the children, one of the main characters of this book, who is a daughter of a politician? In this book, we see different personalities, different types of students in school, and how they never really interacted with each other, but this tragedy like led them to become acquaintances and friends. And this book touched a part of like prejudice, and one of the Muslim students was like one of the first people they suspected just because he has this backpack he carries all around, and just because of who he is. So basically, there's discussions on racism and privilege in high school stereotypes. There's also this gay romance wherein one is afraid to come out because they are athletes and all of that. So there are many themes revolving high school drama, like being noticed, family problems, all of that. They all combined in one book, plus all the bombs. So yeah, my rating for this book is 3 stars. I enjoyed it, but there are some parts where I was like, is it really, should this really be included in the book? And there's also like pacing problems with me, so I gave it 3 stars. The book I have here is The Marriage Lie by Kimberly Bell. I have read one of her books before, which was, I think, Dear Wife, and I enjoyed that, so I decided to take on another one of her books. Now this one is about Iris, who like had the surprise of her life when a plane crashes, and the plane crash killed her husband, but that plane is headed to a place where he wasn't meant to go in the first place. So basically, her husband lied to her. He wasn't supposed to be going to Seattle. He was supposed to have this business conference, but he was there in that plane, and she was so shocked that her husband was not the man she thought he was, and all the book revolved around her investigating what happened, who is her husband really, and unraveling all of those lies. So this book has amazing plot twist. I wasn't expecting that it would go that way. And that's really what Kimberly Bell was able to give me every time. So I really enjoyed this book. I rated it 4 stars. It's if you're a fan of domestic thrillers like Problems Within Marriages, this one is perfect for your taste. And next we have The Arrangement by Robin Harding. Now this one is basically a sugar daddy, sugar baby arrangement gone wrong. This story, we have this little girl. We have this young woman who is a student, struggling student, and she meets her friend, and her friend is living in this beautiful penthouse, and she was wondering how she is able to afford all of that. Her friend suggested that she register as a sugar baby because it's how this friend earns her lifestyle, and she decided to sign up. She meets this guy, she falls in love crazily, but the unfortunate thing is that he doesn't feel the same. He's like your usual asshole guy, and there the sugar baby goes crazy, and there are all of those cliches, like all of those dramatic things, and murder happens. So yeah, basically that's it. I don't know, for me the book is good. I still enjoyed it. It's very dramatic, so I gave it 3 stars. The 9th book I read is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, and the thing with this book is that it was so hyped up in the bookish community. It's a weird thing that it was published like in a similar time as The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and people were confused about the 2 books. But the difference is that The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle is a thriller. So basically, it's like a Groundhog Day setup where a day repeats and repeats and repeats in itself. But here, this person was stuck in somebody else's body like for a day, and he has like 7 or 8 days to transfer host for him to solve the murder mystery, like who killed Evelyn Hardcastle, and try to stop that from happening to save her. And once he does that, he'll get away from that loop, and he would become free to live his life. So basically, as an audiobook, it was very confusing. I was almost like tempted to DNF it and just like pick it up on the physical book. I don't know if it's about the narrator or if it's just about the book in itself. It was very long, and sometimes the story felt repetitive and foolish. And I don't know about this author, but it seems that this author is very fat phobic. He has many fat phobic comments all throughout the story, which like instead of building up my interest, just makes me roll my eyes. I hate all that parts. I don't know if it's like his own insecurities talking here, but yeah. And I don't know, maybe it was just so hyped up in the community that it didn't meet my expectations. So yeah, but there are many parts that were like nice, good, entertaining, and it did give like this little few plot twists, shock factor things throughout the end of the book. So I decided to just give it 3 stars. And lastly, the last book that I've read on audio for October is Mine by Courtney Cole, and this book is another domestic thriller. I love me some domestic thrillers, and it's about this girl, this woman. She is a mom and a boss of like her own makeup empire. So she's this successful woman. She feels happy with her husband. And in the setting of this book, she leaves her kids with like her parents. Her husband is away on business and was supposed to like come home for the weekend, and they would spend it together, like rekindle their relationship, just do some lovey-lovey things. But a hurricane hits their state. I'm not sure if it's Florida, but I don't know. Florida is the one that's flashing in my mind right now. So yeah. And then when she is like trying to get the house hurricane ready, she finds this iPad wherein she catches that her husband is cheating on her. So what she does with all her rage is to contact the girl, pretend that she is her husband, try to trap her, and then chaos ensues. So I don't know if it was like that my mood that day, or this book is just so well written that I loved it so much. It was so exciting. The story was both. It was very dramatic. Like it's like just full on revenge. It was very passionate. The characters were all very passionate, and it was so surprising how the story, I keep saying that, right? But that's the thing with thrillers. I love all the plot twists. They really like, I don't know, it's just that the plot twists were able to like give me those exciting moments where you can't stop turning the pages, or basically for audiobooks you just can't stop listening. You can't like click pause because of how amazing the way they lead you to the end of the story, to the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. So yeah, the characters in this book are literally crazy. I was shocked with like their behaviors. I don't know. I guess it's just like what love does to people. I didn't stop listening to this book, though sometimes the wife, Tessa, becomes very ridiculous. It was so fun to read. So yeah, I gave this book 5 stars. And those were the 10 audiobooks that I listened to on Scribd last October. I know this is a quite late wrap up, and this is just the first part of my October wrap up. I would also be sharing with you my reading stats in the next video, so I hope you watch out for that. But anyway, let's talk in the comments. Please let me know which book you think you would like best. If you have read some of these ones, please do let me know. And if you have recommendations that are similar to the titles I've mentioned, I would love to know them so that I can pick them up in the next months to come. So thank you so much if you have watched the entirety of this video. I have noticed I've been talking for like 26 minutes right now, so I would just like to thank you for watching, and see you guys on the part 2 of my October wrap up. Bye!